How's it going? So, I was supposed to do this yesterday, but I ended up in a production meeting that lasted 4 hours. I'm not complaining because, I haven't talked to other humans other than my husband in 3 weeks. So, it's nice. It was nice, to talk to people about stuff. And the stuff that we talked about was really quite cool. I'm really excited to we're gonna to take on this project that we're about to take on. Hang on, I gotta post a Facebook. I'm really excited about this project that we're about to start. 70/30 Creatives, of which I am a part. And so we ended up having a 4-hour production meeting, and I thought going in, well, the meeting it starts at 7, whatever. I can be done by 9. But what happened was I found myself finding more things to talk about so that I could have some of that sweet human interaction, like you do, So, figure I could continue with what we started with a couple days ago. I'll continue that today, this evening. It's a late start because I have been doing a historical European martial arts class on Wednesdays. Again, which I'm oh my god, I'm about to be obsessed. It's about to get weird, like my life. I don't know. I'm obsessed with it though. I'm like, should I be learning Italian? Maybe I will, because what else do I do during the days? Except today, I ended up streaming Assassin's Creed Origins for 2 hours after applying for 53 jobs. No big deal. But anyway, I know it's a late start, 9:30, but we did a lot of the hard work already on this monologue. So I think it probably won't be too bad. I don't think it'll take too long to do scansion. Okay, so let's just jump right in then. Generally, Shakespeare wrote in a couple different formats. One way that he wrote is called prose, and that's when it's just how everybody kind of talks. And when you're looking in your Arden, perhaps, prose is going to look like a paragraph. So here's Act 3, Scene 1. And this is in Midsummer Night's Dream. It's a scene with the mechanicals, who are they're actors. And you'll see that it just looks like a paragraph. And that's called prose, right? The other way that Shakespeare wrote a lot of times is in verse. This is again from Midsummer. This is from Act 1, Scene 1. And verse looks like a poem. Everything is capitalized at the beginning. and the ends of lines, like they stop, right? The lines don't continue on all the way to the end of the page like a paragraph might, like this. So prose is justified on the edge of the page and just looks like a paragraph. And then verse is the first letter of each line is capitalized and it's not justified on the other margin. So if you're just looking at like a glance at a page, and you wonder, is this verse or is this prose? That's one way to look at it. But not all publications of Shakespeare use the same kind of formatting, so it can be kind of tough to determine if you're in verse or prose. So the thing that you need to know about the verse is that it's called iambic pentameter. Okay. Iambic is the type of stress per syllable, and pentameter is a compound word, I guess, with penta meaning 5, and then meter, we can say there's 5 feet to a line. Iambic, the stress pattern is unstressed, stressed. Unstressed is marked like this. Stressed is marked like that. So generally a Shakespearean verse line is going to look like this. It's going to be 5 feet, unstressed, stressed, unstressed, stressed, unstressed, stressed, unstressed, stressed, unstressed, stressed. This is the iambic pentameter format. And a good, Midsummer is actually pretty regular. I bet I can find something pretty easily in here that's unstressed, stressed. We have Helena. We cannot... Oh, I'll just go down here. Helena has a line in Midsummer that says, "We cannot fight for love as men may do." And we can mark it out. And then we can divide into our syllables. And then we can count 1 foot, 2 feet, 3 feet, 4 feet, 5 feet. So there is 5 feet, so it is pentameter. And then we can stress on the accented stresses. We cannot fight for love as men may do. So this is a regular iambic pentameter line. So what we have to do is look at each of these lines here that Angelo speaks and mark out the stresses. So keep in mind that Shakespeare did often write in iambic pentameter, but just because that is the convention of the piece doesn't mean that necessarily it is or isn't in iambic pentameter. So what I'm saying is don't go through and force iambic pentameter on a line if it doesn't work. So we are looking at Angelo's speech from, I wish I would have written where this comes from. Please someone tell me where this came from. What's the act and scene? I lost my place. This is what happens when you take a day off. You lose your place and you go mad. Stark mad. That's a Winter's Tale reference. You know what? I could Google this. I could absolutely Google this. Oy. All right, I'm Googling it. Here we go. Two, 4. Here we are. There we go. Maybe I'll use a bookmark. That's a thing, right? That people use bookmarks. I don't know. Okay. So we start with, who will believe thee, Isabel? So we can go ahead and count this line. Let's count it out by syllables. Let's just look at how many syllables there are in the line. Who will believe thee, Isabel? Who will believe thee, Isabel? That is not 10 syllables. Therefore, this line isn't in the, it's not, God, I wish that, maybe I should turn off notifications on my iPad. Oh my God. Stop. Ebony Delight, stop messaging me. I mean, don't. I love it. I love to talk to you, but like your notifications keep coming up on my iPad. Simple solution. Okay. Sure. All right. So this doesn't follow initially the iambic pentameter because we don't have 10 syllables. However, what we look at generally, if a speech starts without a full 10 syllables, without a full 5 feet of stressed, unstressed patterns, you need to look at the whatever the line is before it. In this case, it is, what man thou art. This is called a shared line. You'll see that in this particular type of formatting, this line, when it stops, the next one starts right underneath. And that shows that that line is meant to be picked up immediately after that cue. And that together, those Isabel's final thought and Angelo's first thought are actually part of the same iambic pentameter line. You know, I could shove a book into another book. I could have like the human centipede of Shakespeare. That's a thing that everybody wanted to think about, right? You're welcome. So this does start with a shared line. However, if you're doing it like for just a monologue, just maybe an audition piece, that I don't necessarily actually know how you would, or if you would, or does it matter that it's a shared line? I think just start the piece the way you want to. But for me, I'm not going to like take any rests or anything after who will believe the Isabel. I'm not going to fill in those blank spaces with a pause. I'm going to act it as though I'm responding immediately, and that this is the final half of a previous line. Who will believe thee, Isabel? So, what man thou art, who will believe thee, Isabel? So that still doesn't quite follow the iambic pentameter rule. So there's a couple things that could mean. That it just, it's overfilled, and there's maybe a word in there that kind of makes you just want to spit it out really fast, regardless of whatever kind of rhythm you're feeling. Or it could also be hashtag unpopular opinion, that it just doesn't fit, and maybe it never did, and maybe it didn't, and we don't know, because like these works weren't recorded accurately until after Shakespeare's death, basically. Which is interesting. That's specifically an interesting thing about Measure for Measure, because if you look at the very first speech in Measure for Measure, is kind of incomplete. There are, just take a little look here. How we've got this line that ends, and then this next one that picks up. It's possible that we don't actually have a good copy of Measure for Measure. So it's almost like they were written by a human person, and not everything's perfect, and sometimes shit don't make sense. So bear that in mind. So I'm going to read this as, what man thou art, who will believe thee, Isabel. I'm going to take this to me, even though it's a verse line, it should start unstressed. I think a key word here is who. Who will believe thee, Isabel? Who will believe thee, Isabel? Isabel. Isabel? Does that make sense? Isabel? No. Isabel, that doesn't make sense. So it's not following the pattern of stressed, unstressed, right? The stress is on Isabel. Isabel, right? Who will believe? This doesn't make sense either. Believe? Nope. Believe. So this first line is already all kinds of screwed up anyway. So if you're looking for iambic pentameter, look somewhere else. This first line ain't it. Who will believe thee, Isabel? I also have, while I'm scanning this, I'm finding keywords. And as I find keywords, what I like to do is I like to highlight or underline them. And I like to use different colors. I like to pick a color specifically for antithesis, which is like an opposite. And I like to also pick different colors just for words that make me maybe feel something in particular. So iambic pentameter doesn't work. Perhaps it's haiku. That is an interesting thought. But it still doesn't quite fit. A haiku, as far as I know, just has to be 5 syllables, 7 syllables, 5 syllables. I don't think there's a stress unstress pattern for haiku, but I don't know. The only thing I really know about haiku is that I write really bad ones. And I wonder if I'm gonna have to look that up. Actually, I'm gonna write myself a little note because I would actually like to know the historical context of haiku. I honestly, I don't know what the history of that form or when it came from Japan to be recognized in Western society. I have no idea. I'm absolutely gonna look that up, and I'm gonna fall so far down a rabbit hole you may never see me again. So, who will believe thee, Isabel? My unsoiled name, the austereness of my life. Ooh, still doesn't fit. Okay, my unsoiled name, the austereness of my life. So I'm going to, like I said, like I always do, I'm going to look in my book and see if there's anything that any of the like actual scholars have found about these lines. 60, 59, 58, 59, 56. There is nothing in this one. However, I also have a book of monologues. It's called Speak the Speech. And I have the digital format, but you can also get the print format. The cover, I guess I can't really show it to you. It's by Rona Silverbush and Sammy Plotkin. Let's see. We're looking at Measure for Measure. Actually, I bet I could show you in here. Do I have Kindle? I do have Kindle. Let's see if I'm like, oh, this is Mistborn. You don't want to read that. You do want to read that, actually. Absolutely read that. Speak the Speech. This is what you want. I'm going to Table of Contents. I'm looking for Measure for Measure. Which I believe they will have as one of the problem plays. Where are the problem plays? There they are. Measure for Measure. Looks like we have Isabella and Claudio. So, we're on our own here. Right. So, my unsoiled name, the austereness of my life. My unsoiled name, I say that's unstressed, stressed, unstressed. My unsoiled name, the austereness of my life. My unsoiled name, the austereness of my life. My unsoiled name, the austereness of my life. Let's see if we can fit it in there, because I feel like austereness might be something that is elided, perhaps, with the. My unsoiled name, the austereness of my life. My unsoiled name, the austereness of my life. So if we take out the and a and kind of elide them together, the austereness of my life, then it will fit. My unsoiled name, the austereness of my... well, no, that still doesn't fit. Of the... my... woo! Soiled name, the austereness of my life. Because it should end should end stressed. My unsoiled name. So this will happen 87% of the time. You'll think too hard about this stuff and you'll just get completely mixed up, and then you can just start over and just keep working at it. So since it doesn't fit the traditional iambic pentameter, I'm going to read through it, and I'm going to accent the places where I feel it would be emphasized. So for me, the context, who will believe thee, Isabel? My unsoiled name and the austereness of my life. So I feel like, because we've got thee in the first line, that the my's are kind of a opposite, an antithesis of these, of thee in the first line. So maybe I want to try accenting those. But also at the same time, life. I feel that's a very strong word. Unsoiled. 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 I feel like that could go either way. My unsoiled name. That's important. That's a definite article. There's 1,000 these. That's not a super strong word. It can be a strong word, but I feel like in this sense it's not. The austereness of, also not very important. My unsoiled name, the austereness of my life, my vouch against you. But then again, if we're thinking the and my, then we've got you here. That's another important one. And my place in the state. Again, my vouch. Because I feel like these, and a lot of people will say, have I ever found a good beat and done one as a 90s rap? There was a really like kind of embarrassing moment at BADA in 2017, British American Drama Academy. So basically what that is a bunch of American actors get together and they go to Oxford and they study drama and Shakespeare. It's a very intense course. It's like a month long of like 12-hour days of Shakespeare. And for me, Shakespeare and Chekhov. I did them both. There was one night that just a group of us were like working on lines. We all had to learn sonnet. And someone put on some music, and then some people who have incredible talent they were freestyle rapping, and I'm I'm just astounded. I'm sitting there like, okay, cool, like do this forever. I could watch this forever. And then I just started to think about it. The sonnet I was learning did actually kind of fit with the beat, but it's kind of hard to fit it with a beat in some cases because of that unstressed stressed. A lot of times it almost feels more natural for like rap lyrics to almost be stressed unstressed sometimes. So it's possible. It is possible to put Shakespeare to a beat and do it kind of as a rap, but the nature of it being 5 feet, 10 syllables, and the fact that while it should be iambic pentameter, but a lot of times it's not, doesn't always work out so well. But the sonnet that I learned did kind of work. Like as the waves make toward the pebbled shore, so do our minutes hasten to their end, each changing place with that which goes before, in sequence toil all forwards do contend. So that one's kind of regular and it kind of worked. But a lot of them, especially speeches, the speeches and monologues a lot of times will just be crazy. But yeah, go ahead and try putting a sonnet to a beat. Like, it's fun. It is fun. Learn a sonnet, put some music on, try to put it in there, and it can be a fun little exercise. I won't deny it. Back to scanning these for hi Bella. I have a dog who wants love right now. Back to scanning it for our rhythm. My vouch against you and my place in the state. My vouch against you and my place in the state. We're getting closer to iambic pentameter, but there's still a little bit overfilled. My vouch against you and my place the state. In the state. So if we put these two things together. Oh, I don't want that color. No. If we put in the together in the state, if we crunch in and the together really close, then it can hit that rhythm. My vouch against you and my place in the state. So that's one way you can hit it. You can get it into that rhythm. But you could also do my vouch against you and my place in the state. State every time is going to be accented. So is place. Vouch. If you're reading it as just here's my stats. Belle, can you stop, please? You're disgusting. No. Please go lick somewhere else. Yeah, you're gross. I'm not into that. Go lay down somewhere and stop licking the floor. This dog is licking a hole in the floor. Just lay down and go to sleep. It's bedtime, Bella. It's bedtime for old pups like you. Yeah, go to your nest. Go build a nest. Ugh, she's so sweet, but so licky. Gross. Such a distraction. This is why when I have actual work to do, I like to go to a pub. Let's, here. Belle. Come on. Here she is. Here we go. All right. Now get down. Go. Go. Fully on the floor. Thank you. Disgusting. Ugh. Okay. So either you can read this as my vouch against you and my place in the state. Here are my statistics. I'm very believable and I have a high rank. Or you can get kind of petty with it. My vouch against you. You can say, you can really hit those my's and you's. A lot of people will say that it's a pronoun and you're not supposed to... I've heard all kinds of weird rules about this. About how you're not supposed to emphasize a pronoun ever. But I don't give a crap about the rules. I do what I want. I'm gonna start by because this is the first time I've looked at this, and there's a lot of me's and you's and my's and yours and these, there's a definite dichotomy of me versus you. So I'm going to play with that. I'm going to accent these my's and you's. And I'm going to see what happens. So yeah, this doesn't fall now with the unstressed stressed. But Shakespeare's dead. He doesn't care. My vouch against you and my place in the state will sow your accusation overweigh. Will sow your accusation overweigh. Hey, finally, we have 10 syllables. Will sow your accusation overweigh. Okay, let's see if they're iambic. So if we mark it, let's go ahead and mark it out iambic and let's see. So if we go unstressed, stressed, unstressed, stressed, unstressed, stressed, unstressed. Wait. Will sow your Ooh, I totally missed a syllable. Accusation overweigh. So let's read it out as though it were iambic pentameter. Will sow your accusation overweigh. None of that sounded super weird. Will sow your accusation overweigh. That could be our first like regular iambic pentameter line in this whole thing. Which could, Belle, seriously though, like go somewhere else if you're just gonna lick random crap. Go away. I don't want that. I don't want that. Go on. Go. Go bother Daddy. Daddy loves it when you lick random crap. Go on. Disgusting. Will sow your accusation overweigh. That is our that's our fourth line. So it's not until the fourth line that we get a regular iambic pentameter line. Which could tell you something, possibly if you really want to look into it, as though Shakespeare had some idea of what he was doing when he wrote this. That could indicate to you maybe how those first three lines should be maybe how they should be played, or it may give you some kind of insight as to how the character may be thinking or feeling during those first three lines, in that if he's so generally when we get into verse, that's when our emotions are taking over. So maybe if we're not in a regular verse yet, maybe we're still kind of building to that heightened state of emotion. Bella! Hey! Yo! What is this dog tonight? See, lay down. I just took her outside an hour ago. I don't know what she wants from me. Bella, go to sleep. Lay down. We'll go back out in a minute. Yeah, crack hemp. Yeah. Jeez. Okay. However, in this line, will sow your accusation overweigh. If we stick with it being regular iambic pentameter, then that's something we can do. Or, again, we have another your here. And so if we're emphasizing the, my, you, my, we need to keep on that and now talk about your. Because we have an antithesis here. We're saying that my name, my life, my vouch, and my place are greater than your accusation. So here's our two things that we're comparing in these first 4 lines. We're comparing Isabel and we're comparing Angelo. And how Angelo is comparing himself to Isabel, he's taking his name, his life, his word or his vouch, and his rank. He's saying all 4 of those things. I have all 4 of those things. What do you have? You have an accusation. An accusation is not even a truth. There's no way that you're saying that I am the way you say I am is going to be believed when I have a pristine name, a holy life, my word against yours, and my rank. You have an accusation. So we could read this now. Who will believe thee, Isabel? My unsoiled name, the austereness of my life, my vouch against you, my place in the state will so your accusation overweigh that you shall stifle in your own report and smell of calumny. Now notice that I did not stop at the end of these lines here because that's not the end. The end is right here at that full stop. So now punctuation is something that, again, is completely random, kind of. It wasn't necessarily regular or codified back in Shakespeare's day. And with all of the different editions that have been published with Shakespeare's work, different editors will put different punctuation in different places. So kind of the best thing to do is ignore the punctuation and kind of put in your own where you feel it should be. I don't like to do that necessarily. What I like to do, I like to look at whatever book I have and compare it to the MIT has